A very good afternoon. It's just past 2 by the clock. We are back again with another edition of Midday Prime. Over the next 60 minutes, this is your one-stop show where we get you all the stories and updates from India and the world. We cut all the noise, bring you news as it happens from the ground in the field of business, politics, sports, entertainment. Over the next 60 minutes, I'm Anil Thomas, but first up, the big news of this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi releases the 9th installment of Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi scheme via video conferencing to enable the transfer of an amount of over 19,500 crores to more than 9 crore 75 lakh beneficiary farmer families. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to virtually chair maiden high-level open debate at the United Nations Security Council on enhancing maritime security, a case for international cooperation. Kremlin announces Russian President Putin's participation. In Delhi, weekly markets and partial opening of schools for students of Class 10 and Class 12 from today. Tamil Nadu to allow reopening of all colleges with some exceptions. Kerala to boost vaccination till August 31st among all population categories. Haryana extends lockdown till August 23rd. Goa to continue it till August 16th. Nation remembers freedom fighters participating in the Quit India movement, which played a vital role in the fight against British Raj. Vice President urges nation to remember countless sacrifice of freedom fighters. PM pays tribute to the greats who took part in the Quit India movement. And after recording best ever performance, Tokyo Olympics hero Neeraj Chopra returning home. Union Sports Minister Anurag Thakur to honor medal winners this evening. Well, let's begin the bulletin with the big news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi released the next installment of financial benefit under Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi via video conferencing today. 19,000 crore rupees were transferred in the bank accounts of 9.5 crore farmer families. Modi interacted with the beneficiaries of PM Kisan. 6,000 rupees is provided annually to all eligible farmer families in 3 equal installments of 2,000 rupees each since December 2018 under the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi scheme. Prime Minister said when the country will be celebrating 100 years of its independence in 2047, the farmers will play a key role in deciding India's situation. He said the time has come for giving a new direction to agriculture where farmers can face new challenges and benefits from new opportunities.
देश जब आजादी के 100 वर्ष पूरा करेगा 2047 में 2047 में तब भारत की स्थिति क्या होगी ये तय करने में हमारी खेती, हमारे गांव, हमारे किसानों की बहुत बड़ी भूमिका है। ये समय भारत की कृषि को एक ऐसी दिशा देने का है जो नई चुनौतियों का सामना कर सके और नए अवसरों का भरपूर लाभ उठा सके।
But for more on this story, we've got our correspondent standing by, Arun Sharma, joining us on Midday Prime. Arun, good afternoon. Arun, take us through this particular, installment, the 9th installment of this particular scheme that's been handed out. Give us the significance of it and how has it proved to be especially beneficial for farmers there on ground zero?
So Anil, the focus of Prime Minister Narendra Modi right from the beginning, right from 2014 has been on farmers. He has given special emphasis and priority to the farmers in whatever schemes or initiative that he has, drafted for the country. So now the focus has been, how can the farmers be empowered? How can farmers be given financial assistance? And how can the doubling of farmers' income can be done by 2022? So that is the complete focus of the Modi government. Now, when we talk about PM Kisan Samman Nidhi, if you look at the highlights of this scheme, close to 10 crore farmers are covered under the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. That means any farmer who is having 2 hectares of land, up to 2 hectares of land, they all are eligible for this PM Kisan Samman Nidhi, and it is very much easy to register as well for any farmer. pmkisan.gov.in is the website whereby any farmer can register. You just have to give your basic details, address proof, ID proof, and you can get registered if in case your land is up to 2 acres of land, if in case you are your land holding is of up to 2 acres. Now the basic idea is, on one side government is providing financial assistance to the farmers. So on the other side, government is also ensuring that how can an agriculture ecosystem, a better agriculture infrastructure ecosystem can be created in the country. We have seen that how the Modi government has created an agriculture infrastructure fund of 1 lakh crore rupees, whereby small farmers, groups and organizations can take money under this agriculture infrastructure fund and can create various warehouses, cold storages and for storage facilities in their respective villages or districts. So on the other side, we have seen that how last year the farm bills were passed. Now this farm bills primarily provides various flexible options to the farmers, to whomsoever they want to sell their farm produce, they can sell. Till now they were only limited to aratiyas or the middlemen if in case they want to sell their farm produce, but now the farmers of our country are having multiple options. They can sell it to the corporate players, the individuals, the big organizations. So they are now getting much more of their farm produces. Now Kisan Rail, we are witnessing Kisan Rail is running. Now this Kisan Rail primarily is connecting the farmer of one part of the country to the other states. Till now the farmers of our country were limited to only one district or one state only. Now the interstate selling of the farm produce is also taking place because of the farm bills and the initiatives like Kisan Rail. So yes, you can say that if you like to club every initiative, the basic idea is that on one side the Modi government is empowering the farmers. So on the other side, the government is also strengthening the entire agriculture infrastructure ecosystem in our country, so that the benefits are being given to the farmers, so that this vision of doubling the farmers' income by 2022 can be achieved.
Okay, also Arun, considering the fact it's going to be through DPT, clearly into the bank accounts, so rural banks are going to see more footfall, especially when it comes to the farmers coming to collect this particular, incentive from the scheme.
Absolutely. So this is the world's largest exercise as far as crediting the money directly in the beneficiary's account. So far, if you look at the DBT model, the government so far has transferred 17 lakh crore rupees to various beneficiaries under this DBT. And when you talk about the farmers, government has transferred close to 1.4 lakh crore rupees in the accounts of 10 crore farmers in our country. Now this is a record number. Now the world's largest exercise of transferring and crediting this money directly in the bank accounts of the farmers. So yes, this ensures that there is transparency. Number two, this ensures this entire exercise empowers the farmers in our country by providing the financial assistance. Number three, this is also one more direction in doubling the farmers' income. And number four, the important aspect is that this gives confidence to the farmers that the government is with them and is ensuring that how various steps taken by the Modi government in last 7 years are giving a major push to the agriculture sector in our country. A lot of investment, food parks are coming in now in the agriculture sector. So now agriculture sector is not the only traditional sector now. Now we are witnessing a lot of investment, food parks, foreign investment coming into the agriculture sector, and that's the reason why the agriculture or the farmers primarily of our country are being empowered. And very soon by 2020 we will witness that the farmers' income will be doubled going forward.
Also when you're considering the fact that, this particular step has been taken and the 9th installment being released, clearly steps being taken by the government to make the life, especially of the farmers, much more easy, much more accessible.
Absolutely. So, if you look at in last 7 years, the focus of Modi government has been on ease of doing business and ease of living as well. Ease of living not only for the farmers, but yes, for each and every citizens of our country. That's what we have seen. And when we talk about farmers, why farmers are important? Because yes, India is an agriculture dependent economy. 10 crore beneficiaries are there under PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. Now when we talk about Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, whereby 80 crore people were given free food grains. this could, or the traders, and of course the retailers primarily do get benefit of this entire ecosystem. So yes, the government is trying to create a win-win situation for each and every stakeholders when it has introduced the farm bills, when it is creating a better ecosystem or agriculture infrastructure fund of 1 lakh crore rupees. So on the other side, government is also transferring or crediting this 9th installment of approximately 19,500 crore rupees that will clearly ensure that how government is committed to empower the farmers of our country.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us this morning on Midday Prime, giving us an insight especially into that particular scheme and the benefits that it brings to the farmers. Well, moving on now to our next story. Let's now go across to our developing story. Well, the 79th anniversary of the Quit India movement, or the Bharat Chodo Andolon, is being observed today. On this day in 1942, the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, gave the clarion call of do or die to all Indians to drive away Britishers from the country. The movement had began from Walia Tank in Mumbai. The day is observed as August Kranti Day every year. On Quit India Movement Day, Vice President has urged the nation to remember the countless sacrifices made by the brave sons and daughters of India who participated in the movement to free our motherland from colonial rule. Prime Minister paid tributes to freedom fighters who took part in the Quit India movement. The Prime Minister in a tweet said, and I quote, "These freedom fighters played a crucial role in strengthening the fight against colonialism." He further said, inspired by Mahatma Gandhi, the spirit of Quit India movement reverberated across India and energized the youth of our nation. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, on behalf of the lower house of Parliament, paid homage to freedom fighters on the occasion of Quit India movement anniversary.
79 वर्ष पूर्व सन 1942 में आज के दिन हमारे राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी ने भारत छोड़ो आंदोलन का शंखवाद करते हुए देश को अंग्रेजी शासन की दास्ता से मुक्त कराने के लिए समस्त देशवासियों को एकजुट होने का आह्वान किया था। करो या मरो के नारे के साथ आरंभ हुआ यह आंदोलन धीरे धीरे जन आंदोलन बन गया। भारत छोड़ो आंदोलन हमारे स्वतंत्रता संग्राम के सबसे महत्वपूर्ण घटनाओं में से एक था, जिसने हमारे देश की आजादी के महान लक्ष्य को प्राप्त करने में निर्णायक भूमिका निभाई थी। इस अवसर पर हम राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी और उन सभी शहीदों के प्रति अपनी श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करते हैं, जिन्होंने स्वतंत्रता संग्राम में अपने प्राणों की आहुति दी है।
Well, today is also the anniversary of famous Kakori train case. Many functions are being held in Uttar Pradesh to mark the occasion. The main function was organized in Lucknow. Uttar Pradesh Governor Anandiben Patel and Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath took part in the event and paid tributes to freedom fighters associated with the Kakori case. It was the same day in 1925 when one of the most remarkable events of Indian freedom movement took place near Kakori railway station in Lucknow. The revolutionaries of Hindustan Republican Association stopped the train near Kakori travelling from Saharanpur to Lucknow and looted the money from the guard cabin belonging to the British government treasury. Well, Tokyo Olympics 2020 concluded on Sunday, handing over the baton to Paris for the next Olympics. India bagged 7 medals for the country at the Tokyo Olympics. Speaking on India's biggest medal haul at Tokyo, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla extended best wishes while congratulating the Olympic medalist as well as gold medalist Neeraj Chopra and Olympic bronze medalist Bajrang Punia.
सदन को सूचित करते हुए प्रसन्नता हो रही है कि टोक्यो ओलंपिक में नीरज चोपड़ा ने जेवेलिन थ्रो प्रतियोगिता में भारत के लिए पहला स्वर्ण पदक जीतकर एक नया इतिहास रचा है। एथलेटिक्स में किसी भारतीय द्वारा जीता गया पहला ओलंपिक स्वर्ण पदक है। उनकी इस जीत से पूरी देश में उत्साह और उमंग का वातावरण है। इसके अतिरिक्त भारत के पहलवान श्री बजरंग पूनिया ने 65 किलो वर्ग की फ्री स्टाइल कुश्ती में भारत को कांस्य पदक दिलाकर एक बड़ी सफलता अर्जित की है। मैं अपनी ओर से तथा सदन की ओर से श्री नीरज चोपड़ा तथा श्री बजरंग पूनिया को ओलंपिक खेलों में उनकी उपलब्धियों के लिए हार्दिक बधाई देता हूं।
Parliament has passed the Limited Liability Partnership Amendment Bill 2021 with the Lok Sabha approving it today amid din. The Rajya Sabha has already cleared the bill. The bill seeks to amend the Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. The bill converts certain offences into civil defaults and changes the nature of punishment for these offences. It also defines small LLP, provides for appointment of certain adjudicating officers and establishment of special courts. Speaking on the bill, Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said it will help startups, LLP professionals and chartered accountants. The bill was passed without any discussion.
Limited Liability Amendment Bill is a very important amendment bill, sir. This is an amendment bill which aims to bring in ease of doing business for smaller between partnership and big company, the corporation. Because you are aware, sir, many of the startups in this country, many partnerships which are of chartered accountants, which are of cost accountants, all of whom have the flexibility of the partnership but are not so well regulated as much as the corporates are, large corporates are. But by regulation, I want to highlight the fact that many aspects of criminality which pertains to them also will have to now be brought down. Criminal offences will have to be brought down to the minimum. Where it is compoundable, we want to compound them and levy only penalties.
Well, later on, Lok Sabha passed the Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation Amendment Bill 2021 amid din. The Rajya Sabha had already approved the bill. It seeks to amend the Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation Act 1961. Parliament session was disrupted and both the houses witnessed repeated adjournments amid uproar by opposition. Rajya Sabha adjourned till 2 p.m. Lok Sabha finally got adjourned for the day after transacting little business and marked by repeated disruptions. Well, for more on that story, we've got Vishal Baristo standing by, who covers Parliament for us, joining us this afternoon on Midday Prime. Vishal, good afternoon. Vishal, take us first through the important bills that were transacted today in that final week of this session, this monsoon session of Parliament.
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Anil. Yes, today was a very important day, but the opposition seemed, as they had already warned, that they would not allow the House to function, either House to function in the Parliament, and they want the discussion under the farm rules issue and also the snooping issue. But it was very, very unfortunate that despite repeated requests that they did not relent, and the proceedings were disrupted in both houses of the Parliament. Lok Sabha, as you informed the viewers, that has been adjourned till 11 a.m. tomorrow. Apart from the two bills that you mentioned about that have been introduced and later on passed by the lower house, there were three important bills and all passed in duration of 10 minutes. Another bill which was very, very important and which is going to have a far-reaching impact on the society is regarding the Scheduled Tribe Amendment Bill. And today, as we are celebrating the Scheduled Tribes Day, and that gives flexibility to the state governments to come out with the other tribes who are also backward, that have not been listed in the scheduled tribe category, and this would also revise the 1950 order. So all those who have been for long demanding a scheduled tribe status in different states would now get a chance that they would be given their dues that have been due for a very long time. So today was quite an interesting session, but the opposition did not allow the House to function, and the lower house had to be adjourned. But the House started off on a positive note, and we already know that India has had a decent place in the Olympics, to be very precise. One gold that was especially by Neeraj Chopra, and we were all waiting for a very long time. We did not have a single medal, single goal in the field and track event is now in India's pocket. And today the speaker in the lower house congratulated winners Bajrang Punia and Neeraj Chopra. He is the gold medal winner, and the pride of India, Neeraj Chopra, is all expecting a warm welcome, and all things, the stage is all set to welcome the winner of the gold medal today. Apart from that, the speaker also mentioned about the freedom fighters. Remember, today we are also celebrating the 79th anniversary of the Quit India movement, and the speaker, along with Mahatma Gandhi, he also paid his obituary to all those who fought for the freedom of the country, and all those who laid down their lives for the country. And also India is we have already started the Amrit Mahotsav, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Remember, India would be celebrating its 75th anniversary next year, and we are already in the celebration mode. So it started off on a positive note, Anil, but then the opposition, the moment the congratulations were made and the obituaries were made, they came out with the placards and they tried to disrupt the proceedings of the House, lower house I'm talking about. Time and again there were disruptions. So whatever time the treasury benches had in the lower house, 3 bills were passed, and you have already mentioned Nirmala Sitharaman on insurance, on the issue of the insurance, and this huge bill is going to have a far-reaching impact on the society as a whole. Anil?
Also looking at the way the opposition has been behaving, at the start of this particular session of Parliament, the Prime Minister clearly indicated that, we can talk on any topic, but there is to be some kind of decorum that's to be maintained. And I think, as we reach the fag end of this session, do you somewhere feel, that particular message is still not understood, and the opposition seems to be a bit confused in their approach, especially when it comes to this session?
Well, it seems that the opposition is a divided house, because when the upper house agrees to discuss the issue of the farm rules, then they say that no, we would like to have discussions on the Pegasus issue, on the fuel price hike issue, and the price hike issue as a whole. So upper house, they are not allowing the house to function. Time and again disruptions in the lower house. They're coming up showing placards, and even the request of the Prime Minister has gone unnoticed by the opposition. In fact, an interesting statement coming from the TMC, and TMC leader had yesterday only made a statement that they want discussions on the farm issue and the slooping issue by with the use of Pegasus technology. Until it is not accepted, they would not allow the House to function. Now, this is quite an undemocratic approach of the opposition, and there have been repeated requests both by the chairman of the Rajya Sabha and also speaker in the lower house that they should come up, they should not be doing this, because the world is watching India as the largest democracy, and we are in the year that would be celebrating the 75th anniversary of our independence. So it's portraying a very bad picture globally, but the opposition is not relenting. They are sticking to their demands, but the demand is not one. The opposition is not united. They have different demands. Farmer issue is one, slooping issue is one, a fuel price hike issue is another. So they have different demands, different parties, and in fact, last week we saw how the Congress member of parliament came hard on with the Akali Dal leaders, MPs, and they were all against each other, even on the issue of the farmers. So the opposition is not united, but they have an agenda. They want to make their presence felt. They know that they don't have the numbers in either house, but this is the way, and they have so far succeeded. But it's a very, very sorry state of affairs when you see the parliament is not allowed to function. The parliament is held to ransom rather by the opposition parties with their different agendas and different ways of protest. but certainly a very sorry figure coming out from the parliament.
Well, considering that there is an important discussion, especially on the COVID fight that India is doing, now that the opposition is almost certain that they will not let any business to transact, it's an important issue facing the country. Is there some kind of an agreement, especially on a serious topic like COVID, that everyone would agree and would discuss it on the floor of the House?
Well, certainly today was a day when the discussion on the COVID under Rule 193 was slated, but it is very unfortunate, Anil, that they are not allowing the House to function. And the important discussion that was slated for the day has gone all waste because the House has now been adjourned till tomorrow, Lok Sabha I'm talking about. And when we talk about the COVID situation, we have seen how two waves have caused havoc in the country and drastically affecting our economy and badly hitting the lives of the people. But the opposition is not ready to be serious even on that issue when we see that how figures are shooting up in states like Kerala and also Maharashtra. Goa is also affected. So we should be prepared for the third wave or all kinds of variants of Delta variant we are discussing about. The virus is very much here and the virus is coming up with different variants every now and then. So we need to be standing united, at least in the parliament, because our policy has to be discussed upon, the strategy has to be discussed upon, but the opposition has its own agenda, and that's what we saw. The important discussion that was slated for the day could not be discussed, and the House stands adjourned till 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us this afternoon on Midday Prime, giving us an insight especially into an important day in Parliament where important bills were transacted and passed. Thank you. Well, now moving on to our National Prime segment. Well, starting first up, heading east to Assam, where the Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi today. The Assam CM also met Home Minister Amit Shah earlier this morning. The Chief Minister of Assam also met Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia. Rajya Sabha Chairman, while delivering the presidential address at the parliamentarians' meet towards achieving a TB-Mukt Bharat in Parliament House, has appreciated the commitment of the government under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to eliminate TB from the country by 2025. He added that the collective efforts of all stakeholders, including members of Parliament, will go a long way in realizing the goal of TB-free India by 2025.
I appreciate the commitment of Government of India, led by Sri Narendra Bhai Modi. They have decided to eliminate TB by 2025, and I hope the collective efforts of all the stakeholders at the central level, at the state level, at the district level, at the local level will be able to realize this goal of TB-free India by 2025.
Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, who was also present at the event, said by working collectively in a diverse country, we can overcome every challenge. He said the goal of eradicating TB by 2025 can be achieved through collective efforts.
भारत विविधता वाला देश है. हमारी अलग अलग संस्कृति, अलग अलग खान पान, अलग अलग भौगोलिक स्थितियां, लेकिन उस विविधता वाले देश के अंदर हम अगर सामूहिकता से साथ काम करेंगे तो निश्चित रूप से हर महामारी को हम समाप्त कर सकते हैं।
While speaking at the event, Minister of Health and Family Welfare Mansukh Mandavia said lakhs of people are dying every year due to tuberculosis. He added that to stop deaths due to this disease, India has set a target of achieving Sustainable Development Goal related to TB by 2025, 5 years before the global target of 2030.
4.5 से 5 लाख लोगों का मृत्यु हर साल होता है टीबी से, ये एज के लोग। और हम विचार कर सकते हैं, एक टाउन का पॉपुलेशन होता है करीबन 50 लाख से 50,000 से लाख पॉपुलेशन होता है, तो हम टाउन कहते हैं। 5 टाउन के लोग एक देश को, एक दुनिया को छोड़ के चले जाते हैं। इसलिए मोदी जी ने कहा कि दुनिया का एजेंडा 2030 हो, लेकिन हमारा एजेंडा 2025 हो। 2025 में 5 साल पहले हिंदुस्तान को टीबी मुक्त बनना है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will chair the high-level open debate on enhancing maritime security, a case for international cooperation today at 5:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time via video conferencing. The open debate will focus on ways to effectively counter maritime crime and insecurity and strengthening coordination in the maritime domain. The meeting will be attended by several heads of state and government of member states of the United Nations Security Council and high-level briefers from the UN system and key regional organizations. The UN Security Council has discussed and passed resolutions on different aspects of maritime security and maritime crime. However, this will be the first time that maritime security will be discussed in a holistic manner or as an exclusive agenda item at such a high-level open debate.
India took over the presidency of the United Nations Security Council for the month of August. Maritime security, peacekeeping, counter-terrorism are the key focus areas for India during its presidency. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will chair the high-level open debate on enhancing maritime security, a case for international cooperation, on 9th of August. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be the first Indian Prime Minister to chair a high-level open debate at the UNSC. India has had a long maritime tradition. Her cultural footprints stretch across Asia and Africa. India is committed to a safe, secure and stable maritime domain. India will build on initiatives in the maritime domain like Sagar and the Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative.
Ours is not an exclusive approach, and we aim to bring countries together on the basis of respect for international law. We believe that respecting freedom of navigation and adhering to international norms is essential for peace and economic growth in the larger and interlinked marine geography of the Indo-Pacific.
India believes in a climate of trust and transparency, respect for international maritime rules and norms by all countries, and peaceful resolution of maritime issues and increasing maritime cooperation. India's vision for advancing maritime cooperation is rooted in the civilization ethos, pluralism, coexistence, openness, and dialogue. Bureau Report, DD India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today condemned the attack on Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent and Grenadines in a tweet. Prime Minister Modi wished for quick recovery and good health of Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves. PM Modi said he will miss the presence of Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves at the UNSC open debate on maritime security today. The Prime Minister of the Caribbean country St. Vincent and the Grenadines was on Tuesday struck by an object during a COVID-19 related protest. He was flown to nearly Barbados for medical treatment. Prime Minister Gonsalves has been walking through a group of some 200 protesters to reach the entrance to Parliament when he was hit by a projectile just above his temple. India, meanwhile, continues to battle the COVID-19 with the timely tracing, testing and treatment. The country has been containing the spread of the virus. In the last 24 hours, 35,499 new cases were reported. The country's active caseload currently is at 4,02,188. The active cases constitute 1.26% of the total cases. As many as 39,686 patients have recovered from COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. So far, a total of 3,11,39,457 patients have recovered across the country. The recovery rate currently stands at 97.40%. The weekly positivity rate remains below 5% and is currently at 2.35%. Daily positivity rate has been below 3% for the last 14 days and is now at 2.59%. Testing capacity is substantially ramped up in the country. So far, over 48 crore 70 lakh tests have been conducted. India continues to vaccinate its population under the nationwide vaccination drive. More than 50 crore 86 lakh vaccination or vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far. Meanwhile, the union government is committed to accelerating the pace and expanding the scope of COVID-19 vaccination throughout the country. The vaccination drive has been ramped up through the availability of more vaccines, advanced visibility of vaccine availability to states and union territories for enabling better planning by them and streamlining vaccine supply chain. Union government will procure and supply free of cost 75% of the vaccines being produced by the vaccine manufacturers in the country to states and union territories. More than 52 crore 40 lakh vaccine doses have been provided to states and union territories so far, and a further 8,39,780 doses are in the pipeline. Of this, the total consumption including wastage is 50 crore 51 lakh 29,252 doses. More than 2 crore 33 lakh balance or unutilized COVID-19 vaccine doses are still available with the states and union territories and private hospitals to be administered. Back in the national capital, where schools in the national capital opened partially for students of class 10 and class 12 from today. Delhi Disaster Management Authority, that's DDMA, on Sunday had, however, specified that schools, coaching centers and colleges will remain closed for teaching purposes. As per the DDMA order, schools will open for work related to admission and practical activities for board exams. Also, health checkup camps situated on school campuses have been allowed to continue. Health checkups and referral services situated in schools or conducted from there can resume. Children of all age groups may visit these centers accompanied by their parents or guardians. DDMA has also allowed the opening of weekly markets across the city from today with conditions that the vendors and visitors shall follow COVID-19 appropriate behavior. Till now, only 50% of the allowed vendors in a weekly market per zone were permitted to transact business there. Strict compliance of standard operating procedures, that's SOPs, and all instruction guidelines issued by the Government of India and the Delhi government are ensured by officials. The weekly markets were closed after a lockdown was imposed in Delhi on April 19th due to a surge in COVID-19 cases during the second wave. Haryana, meanwhile, has been witnessing decline in new daily cases of COVID-19. With the situation improving, the state government has decided to extend the ongoing lockdown till August 23rd with some relaxation. The state government has, however, ended the night curfew. The restricted timings for restaurants, bars, gyms and spas have been removed, but these will continue to operate at 50% capacity. The Haryana government in its order also stated that establishments running swimming pools must ensure that all swimmers and participants are preferably vaccinated. Also, religious places are allowed to open with 50 people at a time. Universities and colleges are allowed to open for doubt clearing sessions, practical classes, examinations and offline exams. Dipping down south to Kerala, from today, Kerala will commence a mass COVID vaccination drive which will continue till the 31st of August. During this drive, Kerala's health department has roped in postgraduate students, lower primary and upper primary school teachers and final year degree students under its ambit. As per the state health department officials, the mass vaccination drive is a prelude to the opening of the educational institutions. To enhance vaccination in the state, the Kerala government has been procuring vaccines and supplying them to private hospitals. Commercial bodies, industrial organizations and NGOs can also conduct vaccination drives for the people in association with civic bodies and private hospitals. Meanwhile, the Kerala government has permitted the shops in malls to open from August 11th onwards after making all required precautionary arrangements. More than a year after the Indian Army started deploying its tanks in eastern Ladakh, the armoured regiments have evolved their standard operating procedures or SOPs to use their machines more effectively at altitudes ranging from 14,000 feet to 17,000 feet in the area. The Indian Army started bringing the T-90 Bhishma and the T-72 Ajay tanks along with the BMP series infantry combat vehicles from the deserts and plains in a big way to these high altitude locations from last year. The Army showcased the tanks' maneuvers carried out by a tank regiment while practicing attack operations in high altitude areas. The Indian Army has created a huge infrastructure last year for supporting its tank operations, including tank shelters, which help in avoiding parking the machines in open during winters. Neoma Advanced Landing Ground or ALGs in Ladakh witnessed operations of the Apache attack helicopters, Chinook heavy lift helicopters and the Garud Special Forces operations from Mi-17 helicopters on Sunday. Neoma Advanced Landing Ground has strategic importance due to its close proximity to the line of actual control. It bridges the critical gap between Leh Airfield and the LAC, enabling quick movement of men and material in eastern Ladakh, overcoming terrain friction. The ALG will further help in quicker access to the heights and subtenance operations thereafter. The air operations infrastructure at Neoma enhances the operation capability of the armed forces. It also improves connectivity for the entire population in the eastern Ladakh region. Moving to a tragic incident in Gujarat where at least 8 people were killed and 2 others seriously injured when a truck rammed into a hut in which they were sleeping in a village in Amreli district. The accident took place at around 2:30 a.m. According to the police, the driver of the truck lost control after dozing off while driving and ploughed into a roadside hut in which 10 people were sleeping. The truck was going from Rajkot to Zafarabad in Amreli district when the accident took place. Well, due to incessant rains in Uttar Pradesh, at least 15 districts are in the grip of floods. In these 15 districts, 257 villages have been flooded with water. Normal life has been affected due to rains. The water level of the rivers is rising rapidly due to rains. Badayu, Balia, Ganga River in Ghazipur, Etawah, Auraiya, Jalon, Yamuna River in Hamirpur, Banda, Betwa River in Hamirpur, Sharda River and Chandrighat River in Gonda are all flowing above the danger mark. Rescue and relief work is on a war footing by the Army, NDRF and the SDRF. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister will today conduct an aerial survey of the flood-affected areas of Auraiya and Etawah. The Chief Minister will also hold meetings with DMs of these districts and review the relief and rescue operations. On Sunday, the Chief Minister had reviewed the flood situation. Well, in Midday Prime, it's time now to get you all the latest from the world of business, and we've got our colleague standing by. Well, I've got Samriddhi standing by, making her debut. Good afternoon, Samriddhi. Over to you.
Good afternoon, Anil. Thank you very much. Let's take you through the world of business, starting with Sensex. Domestic equity benchmark started today's session on a strong note amid buying interest in financial and IT stocks. BSE Sensex was hovering around 54,146, down by 131.28 points a while ago, while Nifty was at 16,182, down by 56.30. Tech Mahindra, HCL Tech, Wipro, Shree Cement and Infosys were among the top performers in Nifty pack. On the other hand, ONGC, Hindalco, Reliance, Tata Consumer and Kotak Bank were among the top losers. Vodafone Idea shares jumped 4%, while Future Group stocks plunged up to 10%. Shares of Rolex Rings opened to trade at rupees 1,249 per share, up 39%, or rupees 349 per share from the IPO price of rupees 900 per share. The IPO of the automotive components manufacturer was subscribed a massive 130 times by investors last month. The IPO fever continues to buzz, with Nuvoco Viasta's rupees 5,000 crore car trade at rupees 3,000 crore, Aptus Value Housing at rupees 2,800 crore, and Chemplast Sanmar at rupees 3,800 crore likely to hit the markets this week. Moving on, the fifth tranche of sovereign gold bonds made available by the Reserve Bank of India for subscription from today till August 13th. The settlement date for this issue will be August 17th, 2021. The issue price of the latest tranche of sovereign gold bond scheme 2021-22 is fixed at 4,790 rupees per gram of gold, and each bond tracks the price of 1 gram of gold. A discount of rupees 50 is also on offer if you apply using a digital payment mode. For such investors, the price is rupees 4,740 per bond. Let's try and understand what are sovereign gold bonds. Well, sovereign gold bonds substitute for holding physical gold, and these are government securities dominated in grams of gold and issued by the Reserve Bank of India on behalf of the government. Investors have to pay the issue price in cash, and bonds will be redeemed in cash on maturity. Now, what are the benefits of buying SGBs? The quantity of gold for which the investor pays is protected as they receive the ongoing market price at the time of redemption or premature redemption. Investors are assured of the market value of gold at the time of maturity and periodical interest. SGB is free from issues like making charges and purity in the case of gold in jewelry form. The bonds are held in the books of RBI or in demat form, eliminating the risk of loss of scrip. Well, moving on to crude oil, the oil prices dropped 2% on Monday, extending last week's steep losses on the back of a rising US dollar and concerns that new pandemic curbs in Asia, especially China, may set back the global recovery in fuel demand. Brent crude futures slid at $1.41 or 2% to $69.29 a barrel by 125 GMT after having slumped 6% last week. Their biggest weekly loss in 4 months. US West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell at $1.32 or 1.9% to $66.96 a barrel after having slumped nearly 7% last week in their steepest weekly decline in 9 months. Oil also fell as the US dollar rallied to a 4-month high against the euro after Friday's stronger than expected US jobs report spurred bets that Federal Reserve may move more quickly to tighten US monetary policy. Well, that's all we have for you in the Business Prime. Over to you, Anil.
Well, thank you, Samriddhi, for getting us the latest in the world of business. Well, let's now shift focus and take a look at all the stories that are making news across the globe. Well, first up, let's take a look at the COVID-19 numbers from across the globe. The battle against COVID-19 continues across the world. More than 20 crore 34 lakh cases of COVID-19. The one positive number that one looks at when you look at that board, 18 crore 27 lakh recoveries that one has seen from coronavirus across the world. The fatalities continue to increase, over 43 lakh 7,000 cases of deaths being reported from across the globe. United States continues to be the worst affected by COVID-19, both in terms of infections as well as deaths. The country has been witnessing a surge, especially in the Delta variant of the virus. More than 3 crore 65 lakh cases of COVID-19 being reported in the United States, and deaths due to COVID-19 in the country has also surpassed 6 lakh 33,000. First news from neighboring Bangladesh, which has announced the lifting of the lockdown in the country from August 11th, with certain restrictions remaining in place in view of the COVID-19 situation in the country. The Cabinet Division of the Government of Bangladesh issued a notification on Sunday announcing the opening of shops, malls, offices, banks and financial institutions from the 11th of August after the current phase of the lockdown ends tomorrow. Shops and malls can open from 10 in the morning till 8 in the evening. Public transport, including railways, roads and waterways, will start operating from Wednesday. However, they will not carry more passengers than the available number of seats. Hotels and restaurants will remain open at 50% of the capacity, and domestic and international flights are already operational in the country. All the factories and industries will continue to remain open. There has been no announcement about the educational institutions, which have been closed till August 31st by an earlier order of the government. On Sunday, 241 people died due to COVID-19 and 10,299 new cases were reported from Bangladesh. The sample positivity rate has shown a declining trend over the last few days. On Sunday, it stood at 24.52%, down from 26.25% on Saturday. Amid a spike in the new daily COVID-19 infections in the United States, Dr. Anthony Fauci, Director, National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, on Sunday warned that vaccine hesitancy could lead to the development of future vaccine variants. Speaking at NBC's Meet the Press, he said unvaccinated people who had previously been infected by COVID also remain vulnerable to any new variants of the virus.
If you give the virus a chance to continue to change, you're leading to a vulnerability that we might get a worse variant, and then that will impact not only the unvaccinated, that will impact the vaccinated, because that variant could evade the protection of the vaccines. There have been recent studies that clearly show that if you've had COVID, you might be protected for a while against the original virus that you were infected with. But when variants come along, you are vulnerable. And there was a study that came out within this past week that showed that if you are infected, recover, and get one shot of the vaccine, your protection doubles what it would be if you got 2 shots of the vaccine and were not infected.
More international news. Rwandan and Mozambican forces have taken back the center of the strategic town of Musimbio de Pra in northern Mozambique from insurgent foes. The port town, from where the first rebel attack was staged in October 2017, had since last year become the de facto headquarters of a rebel armed group locally referred to as Al-Shabaab. Last month, the Rwandan government deployed a 1,000-strong force to Mozambique to fight alongside the country's army and troops of the 16-member Southern African Development Community. Mokimbo de Pra previously served as the main airport for international workers flying into the gas developments, and its port is used for cargo deliveries. Turkey, meanwhile, continued to combat the worst wildfires in its history over the weekend as fire crews managed to contain some of the blazes that have hit the country's southern coastal province. Strong winds, low humidity, and temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius have contributed to the spread of the fires. The fires have destroyed tens of thousands of hectares of forest in Mediterranean and Aegean provinces in 12 days. Firefighters aided by water bomber planes, helicopters and drones are still fighting flames engulfing many regions. Well, it's time now to get you the latest from the world of sports. Well, we've got Deepika standing by to give us the latest from the world of sports. Over to you, Deepika.
Good afternoon, Anil. Let's take a quick look at all what is happening in the world of sports. And starting with Tokyo Olympics 2020 concluded on Sunday, handing over the baton to Paris for the next Olympics. India bagged 7 medals for the country at the Tokyo Olympics. On the closing ceremony on Sunday, hundreds of people gathered at the foot of the Eiffel Tower, welcoming French athletes and celebrating the handing over ceremony of the baton to Paris Olympics 2024. The City of Lights will be hosting the 33rd Summer Olympic Games. Fans gathered at Eiffel Tower to celebrate handing over ceremony of baton for 2024 Olympics to host 33rd Summer Olympic Games. And Union Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur congratulated the Indian contingent for its excellent performance in Tokyo Olympics 2020. In a tweet, the Sports Minister said, and I quote, Tokyo 2020, an Olympic Games of many firsts. Team India gave its best ever performance. We made our debut in numerous games and we fought like champions. We excelled and we inspired. We cheered and we celebrated. Thank you, Japan, for being a wonderful host. Unquote. And moving on, Union Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs Anurag Singh Thakur will be felicitating the Tokyo Olympic Indian medalists today evening in New Delhi. The Indian contingent will be returning today by evening, followed by which a felicitation ceremony of all 7 medal winners will be held. That includes athletics, wrestling, badminton, boxing and weightlifting. Sports Minister Anurag Thakur to felicitate Tokyo Olympic medalists today evening. And moving on, in football, Spanish club Barcelona continues to have a strong performance even without star Messi. The team defeated Juventus by 3-0 in the Joan Gamper Trophy. Barcelona played aggressively from the beginning and dominated the entire 90 minutes. For Barcelona, Memphis Depay scored the first goal of the match for Barca. In the 3rd minute, Martin Braithwaite scored in the 57th minute of the game, and Ricky Puig's goal in the last minute ensured a 3-0 win for Barcelona. However, Juventus made a good start in the second half of the team and created many scoring opportunities but still failed to score. Well, that's all in sports. Over to you, Anil.
Well, thank you, Deepika, for that quick and brief update from the world of sports. Well, time now to move to our next segment, Live Prime. Well, Al Musa village in Saudi Arabia was known for the bravery, courage and struggle of its inhabitants. The village has now become a tourist destination after it was rehabilitated and restored. The village consists of 33 houses, a number of corridors, an old mosque which is still in its old condition, and an old school. The village also has a museum called the Village Museum. All the objects in the museum were found in the houses during its restoration process. Besides, the village also has an astronomical observatory, which is actually an agricultural observatory, in order to know the exact time of the planting season. At present, Al Musa village is the first village in the Al Bahar region to see maintenance of its old buildings, which were built in stones and timber that lived hundreds of years. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of Midday Prime. But remember that fight against COVID-19 continues. So if you haven't got yourself vaccinated, please go ahead and get yourself vaccinated. Remember, if you and I get vaccinated, we all stand a better chance to see a better tomorrow. That's it from me and my entire team on Midday Prime. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Take care.